Jumatatu mpaka Ijumaa, moja kwa moja kutoka VOA Swahili.
Hello, I'm Esther Gitu-Ewart. It's Friday, November 18th. This is Africa 54.
A cholera outbreak in Malawi kills 180 people and infects more than 6,000. In West Africa, Senegalese are urged to increase production of an indigenous nutritious grain as the region faces the impact of climate change. And in our Friday entertainment, Heather Maxwell speaks with Montreal-based Haitian multi-instrumentalist Wesley Lozande.
We begin our broadcast in Central Africa, where young activists are cooking porridge and handing out bread for children and pregnant mothers displaced by a rebel insurgency in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. David Oyo has more.
At a camp for those fleeing rebel violence in Democratic Republic of Congo's east, it's time for breakfast. And that's possible thanks to a group of young activists. More than 280,000 people have been displaced in North Kivu province since the M23 group launched a major insurgency in March. At the camp in Manugi, on the outskirts of provincial capital Goma, bread and porridge are being prepared and handed out by volunteers from Goma Actif, like slam artist Ada Malonga.
We brought the porridge because firstly we aim to help children and pregnant women, because they are the ones who are more in need. They are the ones who need it most. We told ourselves that grown-ups are able to resist hunger. And we target children more because children are fragile.
M23 renewed its offensive at the end of October. That's triggered a fresh wave of displacements, straining government and UN support. Sophie Rochelle escaped with her 5 children from Rutshuru territory, one of the hotspots of recent clashes.
They have a good heart to do this on their own. May God bless them. Let them not get tired. I want them to be supported, and supported by those who have more means, so that our children do not die of hunger.
M23's advances have caused a diplomatic row between Congo and neighbouring Rwanda. Kinshasa accuses Kigali of supporting the rebels, an accusation that the UN says is supported by solid evidence. Rwanda denies the allegation. On Wednesday, African Union peace envoy and former Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta visited Goma. He called for an urgent intervention as he pushed to cool tensions between the two neighbours and end the conflict along their shared border.
David Doyle of Reuters filed that report. Malawi is struggling to contain one of the worst cholera outbreaks in years that has spread nationwide, killing more than 180 people and infecting more than 6,000. Authorities and aid groups are stepping up cholera vaccination and hygiene campaigns. Lamek Masina reports from Blantyre, Malawi.
Malawi health authorities are struggling to curb a cholera outbreak that has spread to nearly all the country's 28 districts.
The cholera situation as of currently, we are receiving a lot of cases every day. Yeah. So the numbers have spiked. At the moment, we're getting about maybe 4 or 3 patients per day.
The situation is more critical in areas where residents use water from untreated sources like rivers, where bacteria can spread the diarrheal illness.
We used to have tap water in my area, but all the taps were vandalized. And also it's very hard to access water from boreholes because most of them are not working.
Health workers fear the increase in cases will overwhelm clinics.
Our camp, we've got about 4 beds in one room and 4 beds in the other room. And most of the times they're getting full when it is dry season, when the cholera season has not started. So we should expect more cases, and we might not have enough space for everyone when the rainy season starts.
Malawi started vaccinating against cholera in May with support from the World Health Organization, but community health workers say the uptake has been slow because many people shun the vaccine.
They ask, why are we bringing so many vaccines? Fearing the vaccines might cause infertility. They say the vaccine is meant for children without knowing anyone can receive it, depending on the gravity of an outbreak.
Malawi this month received nearly 3 million doses of cholera vaccine with support from the WHO, the Global Vaccine Alliance, and the UN Children's Fund, UNICEF. Health workers are educating communities on the need to take vaccine and how to sanitize water supplies to make them safe for drinking. Lamek Masina for VOA News, Blantyre, Malawi.
UN climate talks are being extended to Saturday, with rich and developing nations deadlocked over creating a fund for countries devastated by the impacts of global warming. And the European Union warns that its offer is final. Representatives from nearly 200 countries gathered at the COP27 in Egypt for 2 weeks with the aim of driving forward action on climate change as the world faces an onslaught of extreme floods, heat waves and drought. The daunting list of urgent tasks include finding agreement and funds for the emission cuts needed to limit average warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius from pre-industrial levels, which scientists say is a safer guardrail to avoid the most dangerous impacts.
I have to say this is our final offer. This is where the member states can find an agreement, and I have to thank all of them for the courage to go this far, but this is it. The European Union has made huge steps forward, and in any negotiation, if you make steps forward and the other side doesn't budge, at some point it ends. And this is an offer we put on the table, which I think is very far-reaching, and I hope it is appreciated rightly on the other side of the argument. And they were very interested in seeing that we really want both sides of the argument to be reflected in the conclusion, including on mitigation. And there, you know, we've always fought together with the Americans to get strong language on mitigation, because we all know if we don't reduce our emissions, all the other efforts will come to naught. Doing all of this only has real effect if at the same time we seriously reduce our emissions, because if you don't seriously reduce the emissions, there's no amount of money on this planet that can address the issue of loss and damage, the issue of adaptation.
UN Chief Antonio Guterres says there was clearly a breakdown in trust between developed and emerging economies as he called for a deal on loss and damage, warning that the blame game is a recipe for mutually assured destruction. The UN Global Climate Conference has been extended, as we said, to Saturday due to disagreements between the rich and developing nations over creating a fund focused on helping the poorer nations to better address climate change. For 2 weeks, more than 200 delegates have gathered in Sharm el-Sheikh to discuss those issues. And now I'm joined from Sharm el-Sheikh by Heather Murdoch, VOA's Middle East correspondent. Hello, Heather. We've mentioned a few things about why these talks have been extended for yet another day. But what are the main reasons that might be put on the table Saturday?
Really, the main issue is what you were talking about. The main issue is how can rich countries pay for poor countries who bear the brunt of climate change suffering. It is developing countries and emerging economies that generally have had the most climate disasters and have the least capacity to recover from climate disasters. So from the beginning of this conference, this has been on the table for the first time, and it has been a thorny issue from the beginning. People have wondered, how can we solve this problem that is so long-standing in 2 weeks? And so far, it seems that they have not. This European Commission idea is on the table, and there are other ideas that they're discussing. So they did extend 1 day, so there is some hope that they will come to some sort of agreement. But right now, this is the main issue they're sticking on.
Heather, give us a little insight into the so-called loss and damage, and also what the European Union is referring to as its final offer.
The loss and damage really is a gentle way to say how to help communities recover from devastating fires, floods, heat waves, events that have killed many people. Floods alone have killed more than 2,300 people this year in Pakistan and Nigeria alone. And that's just one element. In Somalia, children are already dying from hunger from the worst famine in 40 years. Loss and damage is the funding that they want to help these communities recover and to help them prevent the extreme suffering that happens when one of these climate events happens. The European Commission idea has a lot of support, but it also has some detractors. The two things I've heard that people are worried about is, one, it's tied to emissions. So it's not simply rich countries paying for poor countries, which is what developing nations have been calling for. And it's tied to the emerging economies as well, who are emitting carbon. They also have to pay into it. The other is simply how much will it be funded? It has some agreement and some pledges, but it needs to be funded globally from all of the wealthy powers to make a difference. The papers that have been released so far to indicate what a draft might look like have said they need something in the trillions of dollars to address loss and damage. Not billions, not millions, trillions.
Wow, quite a lot of money there, Heather. I'm sure there are other sticking issues that might be discussed tomorrow. We'll touch base again on Monday. Heather Murdoch, thank you for your reporting. Heather is VOA's Middle East correspondent. Climate change is challenging food security in some African countries that have relied on grain imports like Senegal and are looking to indigenous grains like Fonio that thrive in drier soil. Senegal celebrated an annual day of Fonio on November 15th to urge scaling production of the nutritious grain as the region faces the impact of climate change. Annika Hemmerschlag reports from Kédougou, Senegal.
Senegal's Kédougou region celebrates its annual Day of Fonio, a grain native to West Africa that's packed with nutrients like protein and amino acids. The region, on the border with Guinea and Mali, has become known as Senegal's Fonio hub.
The goal of this day is to raise awareness about the benefits of Fonio and to encourage Senegalese people to adapt it into their diets.
Fonio is gluten-free, rich in iron, and grows easily without pesticides or chemical fertilizers. Most importantly, the grain is drought-resistant and thrives in poor soils.
Fonio isn't impacted by climate variations. We're never scared of drought or floods. We can always count on Fonio. We always have a good harvest.
Food insecurity looms large in West Africa, where climate change is blamed for weather extremes that challenge food production. The need for tough local crops like Fonio is at an all-time high. The COVID pandemic and Russia's war in Ukraine exposed the region's dependence on food imports like rice and wheat.
Now is the time to start thinking about how to stock up on reserves, for Africa and particularly for Senegal. Because if we don't, in 1 or 2 decades, I assure you that famine will destroy all of Africa.
Fonio production has been held back by the tiring shilling process, usually done by hand. Dehulling machines donated by the U.S. African Development Foundation have benefited Senegal's Kédougou region.
With the machine, we can process 150 kilos per hour, whereas manually, we can't even process 10 kilos per hour.
But other regions aren't so lucky. Senegal produced about 5,000 tons of Fonio in 2019, compared to more than 500,000 tons in neighboring Guinea. Fonio fans in Senegal hope leaders prioritize the grain's production for food security and so it can reach its full potential. Annika Hammerschlag for VOA News, Kédougou, Senegal.
We are excited to hear what you think about Africa 54 and all our VOA Africa programs on our website at voaafrica.com. Still to come, Music Time in Africa host Heather Maxwell features Wesley, a Montreal-based Haitian artist showcasing rich music traditions and dance. Stay with us.
extreme weather and natural disasters are prevailing in Africa. We ask, how many of the promises from last year's United Nations Climate Conference, also known as COP26, were delivered in 2022? On this week's edition of Our Voices, we will compare the outcome from this year's COP to last year and examine how global north can further assist African nations in achieving climate justice, and most importantly, what role African women will play in the process. Join the conversation each week right here on Our Voices.
You're watching Africa 54 from the Voice of America in Washington, D.C. In other news, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation says it is committing $7 billion to Africa over the next 4 years, as Bill Gates warned that the Ukraine crisis was reducing the amount of aid flowing to the continent. The sister of jailed British-Egyptian activist Alaa Abdel Fattah says his health has deteriorated severely. Her announcement comes after the first family visit with Fattah since he ended a 7-month-long hunger strike. Public sector trade unions in South Africa are calling for a one-day national strike to be held next week after talks with the government over wages collapsed. The workers want wages to rise by up to 10% amid high inflation. Less than 2 days before the start of the World Cup in Qatar, the international governing body, FIFA, confirmed Friday that the sale of alcohol will be banned at all of 8 World Cup stadiums. The decision reverses an agreement between FIFA and AB InBev, Budweiser's parent company, for beer sales at stadiums. The company reportedly paid $75 million for the exclusive rights to do so. Only non-alcoholic beer will be sold at the stadiums. Alcoholic beverages will be served in private hospitality areas. In a major World Cup development, Senegalese football authorities say star player Sadio Mane will not be part of the Lions of Teranga national team that is competing for the 2022 FIFA World Cup Championship. Mane is still recovering from a shin injury obtained while playing for Bayern Munich earlier this month. VOA's Abdurrahman Dia has more.
Here in Dakar, most people are now coping with the news, the major news that broke last night, that Sadio Mane, the best player of the Senegalese team, will not be going to Qatar. However, most of it are now saying, well, the rest of the team will have to play for him and for the whole country, you know, to basically support him. And as a way of supporting him, the coach Aliou Cissé, according to several media, has said that he will not replace him by another player as allowed by FIFA rules. So he will be in the list in case that something major happens in Qatar. If, let's say, Senegal hits it big, you know, with a trophy or something historic, Sadio Mane's name will remain, you know, in the list of those who made it happen. So a lot of people here in Dakar are praying for that to happen in support of Sadio Mane, saying that it's no longer about the team, it is also about his health. Abdurrahman Dia here in Dakar for Africa 54.
Thank you, Abdurrahman Dia, for that report. Ghana's Black Stars football team has arrived in Qatar for the 2022 FIFA World Cup. But before departing, Ghanaian President Nana Akufo-Addo let the country know that the team has his and the nation's full support as they prepare for global events.
All of us know what football means to us in this country and what a very rich history we have in football. History that goes right back. The 50s and 60s, 70s, 80s, the 90s, right up till today. And I'm very confident that with the players that have been selected and with an excellent technical team that we have under the leadership of Otto Addo, that we're going to give a very good account of ourselves.
Ghana opens World Cup play against Portugal on Thursday, November 24th. The excitement is building among the fans arriving in Qatar for the World Cup. VOA's Sande Shomari and Khalil Abdu are on the scene and captured the enthusiasm of the Moroccan and Kenyan fans on the streets of Doha. There are 5 African teams competing in the World Cup: Morocco, Ghana, Senegal, Cameroon, and Tunisia. As the Cameroonian team prepares for the World Cup, where it will face Brazil, Serbia, and Switzerland, the issue of the indomitable Lions equipment supplier continues to arouse reactions. The Cameroonian Football Federation waited until a few weeks before the tournament to unveil the national team's new jersey. Emmanuel Ntap has more from Yaoundé, narrated by VOA's Vincent Makori.
It was less than 15 days before the start of the tournament that the public discovered the new jersey. Equipment supplier One All Sport was chosen by the Cameroonian Football Federation to dress the national team. In Yaoundé, the supporters were quick to take over the shop dedicated to the sale of this jersey.
We are already buying it to praise the effort that has been made to bring us the Cameroon shirt before the World Cup. So it is a pleasure for us to see it. And we still have to encourage that effort and be the first to come and buy it.
Last August, the Cameroonian Football Federation terminated a contract with equipment manufacturer Coq Sportif. The case between the federation and the supplier is pending in court. The issue caused confusion among fans before the start of the World Cup.
I waited because there was too much turmoil. Fortunately, the president of FECAFOOT, Samuel Eto'o, located people today, and with the support that I have for the Lion, even the new president of FECAFOOT, it was absolutely important for me to come and buy a jersey first today. So I am very proud. The jersey is beautiful. I call on my Cameroon brothers and sisters to come and buy this jersey. It is really beautiful. It does not look like anything we have had before.
To reassure the supporters, the president of the Cameroonian Football Federation, Samuel Eto'o, kicked off the sale of the new jerseys in the presence of David Mandelson, president of the equipment supplier One All Sports. That day, neither the president of Cameroon Football Federation or the top management of One All Sport wanted to speak to the press. But in a later interview on local television, Samuel Eto'o revealed that One All Sport will pay 1 billion CFA per year to Cameroon Football Federation. Eto'o also set the technical framework for the indomitable Lions, aimed at helping the national team bring the trophy home.
I think going to a World Cup, you have to be ambitious. I don't think we just go to a World Cup to participate. We go there our ambitions are big. And before talking about the end of the World Cup, I think we have 3 important games to play, which we are more focused on that. We have to go game by game. And not to be dispersed. I think that's the best way to abort the competition.
The Cameroon Football Federation has recruited 200 supporters and mascots who will support the indomitable Lions in Qatar. For Emmanuel Jules Ntap, I'm Vincent Makori, VOA, Washington.
Wesley Louison, also known as Wesley, is a Montreal-based Haitian multi-instrumentalist known for showcasing the rich music traditions of Haiti within his modern multinational dance band. The artist was recently here in Washington to promote his latest album, Tradition. VOA's Heather Maxwell spoke with him backstage and caught some of his live performance at the Bossa Bistro venue.
Wesley, welcome to Washington, D.C.
Thank you for having me.
I love your banjo.
It is an instrument that we use in Haiti and the Creole music. Actually, it is like the folk music.
What brings you to Washington?
Actually, I ever been in Washington, D.C. with my new album, Tradition, and I want to share this album to the Americans.
Mm-hmm. Do you have your whole band with you tonight?
Yes.
Is everybody from Haiti?
Not everybody from Haiti. Actually, I wanted to do like a United Nation music band. Like I have people from Africa, from West Africa in the band, people from Morocco, from Canada, from Haiti, and also people from Cuba.
of your missions in music is to export Haitian music and make it loved by the international community. Is that still your mission?
Yes, this mission is still going on, and I think I have a lot of albums to just dedicate those albums to the Haitian culture. And then I wanted to do like the culture as the ambassador of the country, actually, and we can use the culture to speak for us.
So how would you describe Haitian music?
Haitian music there is many levels of it. There is like a spiritual music, you can have also the voodoo music, we have like music like chubado, we have also banjo, and we have accordion and congas, we have also the Latin flavors, and we describe the music of Haiti like the music of happiness.
Oh. Most of the time, everything though, if it's sung, it's in Creole, right?
Yes, we have a couple languages as well. On the voodoo music, we have the Yoruba and some
from
of the
Nigeria.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. We get some people also singing away in Fon. That's what I'm putting in Tradition, the album that I just released, because I wanted to pay tribute to our ancestors that never changed the languages of the song and keep them there for us as a very good patrimoine.
You spent a lot of time in France and sometime in West Africa working as a guitarist
Yes.
with some of the most internationally known musicians. So how did you find that enriched your musicality?
Yeah, going to West Africa was something that I wanted to do actually. And then it was going to learn from the masters, you know, like bringing Haiti back to Africa culturally. It was the symbol of that. I learned a lot from the Manding music, from the Susu music. I learned a lot from the Congo, Kinshasa music, the soukous and everything. Yes, it's influenced my music, and that's a way to bring Haiti back to Africa.
What do you see yourself doing in 5 years from now?
Artists can't see that now, you know. I'm going with the wave, you know.
Oh, I see.
I'm learning a lot.
Thank you for joining me on Music Time in Africa here in Washington.
Thank you so much.
That's our entertainment for today. Join us every Friday for another exciting Heather Maxwell Entertainment Report. And that's our show this Friday. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. From all of us here in Washington, have a great weekend.